A recent report by the National Women's Law Center discovered that pregnant women routinely face discrimination at the workplace by employers. The numbers, in fact, high enough that a bill called the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act has been introduced in Congress to protect expectant mothers. Our guest, Emily Martin, is the Vice President and Legal Counsel of the National Women's Law Center. Emily, thank you very much for being here with us. I do appreciate it. You know, this seems so disturbing to me that in 2013, an issue like this is not resolved. Tell me what the study found in terms of discrimination against women that were expecting.
Well, what we found is that today there's a really big problem with employers refusing to make often very minor changes to job rules or job duties for pregnant women who need those changes temporarily because of pregnancy. So women who need to avoid heavy lifting for a couple months, for example, are losing their jobs even when employers routinely make accommodations for an employee who needs to avoid heavy lifting because of a bad back. And that's discriminatory, but it's still going on, and women are losing income and losing their jobs because of it.
And there are particular women in particular sectors of the workforce that are most affected by this discrimination. Isn't that right?
What we've found is that women who are in lower wage jobs, which tend to be more physically demanding and have less flexibility, are hurt particularly by this. Also women who are in jobs that are traditionally done by men, often more physically demanding jobs like policing or truck driving or being a corrections officer. Those women also often face real resistance when they say, I need a temporary change for a couple months because of my pregnancy. Those are places where the employer often their instinct is to say no, even when they make the same changes for workers with disabilities or for workers with injuries.
Now, Emily, as I understand it, there has been a law in the books for 35 years now called the Pregnancy Discrimination Act. So why does this still persist? Why does this problem still persist? Is this law not enough? And I know that your group is working on a new bill, the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act that we referenced in the introduction. How will it be different than what's already on the books?
So the Pregnancy Discrimination Act, which has been the law for 35 years, says that workers have to treat pregnant workers as well as they treat those who are similar in their ability to work. And we think that should make it clear, but a lot of employers are still not getting the message. What the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act would do would make it unmistakable, would say straight out, employers have to make reasonable accommodations for limitations arising out of pregnancy. Not every pregnant worker will need an accommodation. Plenty of women will be able to work their entire pregnancies at their usual jobs without any changes. But for those women who do need, say, a stool to sit on, or a few more breaks during the day to go to the bathroom, or the ability to drink water on a shift, which in some jobs is a real point of contention, a rule like that would provide a really clear guide for employers as to what their obligations are and for employees as to what their rights are.
You know, this goes back to sort of broaden this conversation out to some very fundamental conversations that have been had about women in this society, and that is, do we have to choose? Can we have it all? Are we really still in a time where women have to decide whether or not they want to be mothers or to be very successful in their careers? Are we still there?
Well, unfortunately, some employers still labor under the stereotype that a woman can't be a mother and a good employee. And that stereotype plays out in various ways, from forcing women off the job when they're pregnant by refusing to make these accommodations, or just by flat discrimination, saying, you know, as a pregnant worker, I don't think you're going to fit in here, a thing which still happens even in this day and age, to more subtle forms of discrimination. For example, one thing that we know about the wage gap is that while women who work full-time year-round make about 77 cents for every dollar made by men, for mothers, that wage gap is even worse. Women who are mothers and work full-time make about 60 cents for every dollar made by fathers. So there are a lot of ways that the stereotype that mothers aren't good workers still is being played out in the workforce today.
Before I let you go, Emily, in the midst of all this doom and gloom, can you give any advice to women on this subject?
Well, I think that one thing to do is to think carefully when you are choosing a partner to have children with, and to try to find somebody who will be a real equal partner. Since I think a basic first step in correcting these stereotypes is when men and women are really sharing family responsibilities and family obligations, when it's not the case that it's always the woman who takes off work for the child's doctor's appointment. But that's a really important first step, both for making it possible for individual women to balance work and family because they have a real partner in raising children. And it will also, in the longer run, help change expectations and perceptions about what it means to be a working mother.
All right, Emily Martin, thank you very much.
Thank you.